Okay, hey, thanks everybody for joining this webinar on using Cyberquery to build a AR agent report, as well as showing some of the techniques we use, which are the list no detail capability. So, just starting off real high, my name's Jim Mon, uh, and I'm going to be doing some of the slides this morning. John Day is our senior consultant, and he's going to be doing the demo if he's able to join this webinar. So we'll kind of keep an eye out for him being able to join. He's having some password issues right now, so I'm going to kind of apologize up front for some of that. But we will keep watching and see if John's able to connect. But in the meantime, let's see if I do that, I can hide that. Okay. What we're going to do is just kind of a little bit of an overview. So the Cyberquery Discovery webinars are really your webinars, your meaning Cyberquery customers. We want to use these to address your requests, any kind of training, any kind of application you want to look with. We're going to show you that. So again, this is designed to advance your CQ skills and knowledge, customer driven. So at the end of this webinar, you'll see a survey, and there's going to be 5, 8, 10 topics that you can choose from, and we'll show you those as we go along. And then what we're going to do is, these sessions we're going to do the third Wednesday of every month at this time. So 2 o'clock Eastern time, 1 o'clock Central, noon Mountain time. So, okay, with that being said, the topic for today is AR aging reports. We're also going to be talking about how do we use the list no detail capability within Cyberquery to present this type of report. These list no detail reports come in very handy. So I think it's going to be a great session for you because you'll end up using these list no detail options all the time. At the end, we're going to have some questions and answers. And right now, we can't see questions interactively, but if you submit them, one of our panelists will be able to look those over and maybe respond directly to you or bring them up as a topic that we can cover as a group. So that's what we're going to try to do. Okay, let's see, I'm going to go back one slide. Okay, so we're going to go through those agenda items. So today, we're going to be talking about specifically about an AR agent report. An AR agent report is an point in time report. So if you run it today, it's going to show your AR balances as of today. But a lot of times, the controller, the accountant kind of people like to be able to do it as of a point in time, say January 1 or December 31st or whatever the case might be. So we're going to talk about this AR agent report from a point in time basis where, again, there's going to be an input parameter where you can go in and say, select as of date. So if you want to see AR aging as of January 1 or May 1, you can do that in this report. We'll also talk about which tables we use. So the main table we use for this report is going to be the AR Tran master table. And then we're going to be using specifically some of the fields within that table called types. So we want to look at the invoices, we want to look at payments, debits, credits, freight charges, anything like that. Other tables used are going to be things like the invoice header master, customer address table to pick up my bill to customer name, and all of that. So again, from the type field, we want to get type I, which are the invoices. We want to get the P's, which are the payments. We want to get the C's, which are credits, and the D's for any kind of debits or payments, and then freight. We'll pick up all those. So the whole idea between these list no detail reports is it gives you all the power of Cyberquery, but you can suppress or hide all the detail lines. So we're just going to be looking at the end of section. So the end of sort on the invoice or the applied to invoice. We'll be looking at, we can and then summarize it. Then again by customer number and customer name and site. So these list no detail reports let you hide the detail and then just show the summary, the summarized value at the invoice level, at the customer level, etc. The nice thing about these list no detail reports is they have fewer restrictions that you might run into in a sum report. So you could do a lot of this of what we're talking about in a sum, which are easier to use, but there's often times where you need to do a weighted average calculation or something at the end of the section. And again, you can do that more easily with the list no detail than you can with a sum report. So it's really suited for very complex reports. And again, we'll show you some examples of that as we go along here. So the end of section, really lets us display anything we want. It can be the value, so the customer name, the customer number, the invoice number, but then we can also do all kinds of totaling. We can set widths and all of that, and we can do things like unique counts. We can do averages. We can do maxes, mins, the whole 9 yards at these end of sections. So again, at the end of the field or the end of the sort field, we're going to be able to say end of, in this case, apply to invoice, and we're going to put in a switch for no heading because by default, the system is going to try to put in, the heading for a field. We're specifying at this end of section, no heading unless otherwise specified. So that's one of the key pieces in this section. But we're going to be using the total of variables, and we'll use maxes and mins for like the maximum invoice date or PO date or whatever. But what we're looking at right here is kind of the brand new version of Cyberquery, including the AI. So if anybody wants to, at the end of this section, at the end of the session, it's going to, let you reply to the survey. If you'd like to be part of our beta program for the AI, please include that in your comments. So what I want to do is I am actually going to use the AI assistant, and I'm going to show you a couple cool things here. So I'm into the AI assistant, and I'm going to just come in here, and I'm going to say, and I could do it by clicking on the microphone, but I'm going to type. I'll say, let's do show me an AR aging report. So I just type in what I want. I could put in here for a given time period, for a customer number, but I'm just going to type that into the AI assistant. And the assistant's going to go out there and kind of look and say, okay, do you want to look at a starting point? Or do you want to have the AI engine build a brand new query for AR aging? In this case, what I want to do is I'm going to click on starting points because I know I've got several starting points out there that we can use. So here's, AR aging for active invoices. Here's one, just AR aging. I'm going to scroll down here. Here's one called AR aging as of. And here's one AR aging input customer number. That's the one I want to use. I want to highlight that. And I'm going to say, use this starting point. The system goes out there, drops it into Cyberquery, and it says, okay, for this particular report, which sites do you want to look at? And again, you guys know that you can click the little drop-down list and pick any site. I'm going to just go with the LA site. This is using the Infor demo data, so it's kind of old. It says, what about customer numbers? And here, we'll just grab one customer number. Or maybe we'll grab a couple, 3, 4, 5. We'll grab those. And as of date. Now, again, since this is the Infor data, it's kind of old, but let's go back and I'm going to say let's do 01.01.20 2018. Again, it's old data, so that'll make things not look that ancient. But we'll click run. System goes out there and runs the report. And let's maximize the report just to kind of see what it's done here. So for those customers I've selected, it's given us the customer name, the number, the invoice number, apply to, and it's kind of given us where we stand in terms of each one of those invoices. Now, just to kind of talk about this, how it works is each of these invoices, especially each one of these apply to invoices is a summary. So, there's a lot of detail behind this invoice. So there could be the invoice itself, there could be payments, there could be debits, could be credits. But we've summarized that all down using the list no detail capability to just print out one line. So we're doing a list no detail based upon this apply to invoice number. We're also doing a list no detail at the customer level. So we're doing a total for this customer. We're showing the customer name, the customer number, and we're just showing over here things like here's my credit limit, which is just the value that we're showing at that level, but we're showing the total invoice balance. We're showing the total for current, the total for any one of these buckets over here. And then finally, at the end of report, we're also doing kind of a, I'll say list no detail at the end of the report, because at the end of the report, we're showing, what percent of, total invoices, are in current or are in past due. So again, there's a lot of capabilities you have in these list no detail reports. So let's go specifically back. I'm going to hit the space bar. And again, I'm kind of in the AI environment. If I click the arrow, it's going to show me my history of conversations. Don't need to worry about that. Here's the actual code that is in the system that, again, I can modify. I can say to the AI engine, add for me customer state or location or whatever, and the AI is going to modify the code. So here's the code. But since we're talking to users, I'm going to click on my keyboard here, and I'm going to actually go in. I'm just going to look at my Cyberquery environment. So what we've got here is an AR agent report with some data. And what I want to do, you can see all these calculations and joins that are going on in here. But what we've got down here at the bottom is really what I want to show you. So what we're saying is we're basically figuring out, apply to invoice. And then we're saying that the apply to invoice, we're doing, in this case, we're doing an absolute value. We're saying if the amount, the invoice amount, all of these are greater than 0, or in this case 0.01, then do the following. So we're actually doing a conditional calculation at the end of section for this AR agent report. And what we're basically doing is we're saying, okay, print the invoice number, you see right there, and we're aligning it to invoice number. So again, we use the list part of the report to bring in all the column headings and to define columns that we're going to be linking to. And some of these columns are just blanks, but we've given it a name. So in case right there, you got it one called invoice balance. Here's one called, current. Here's one called, balance 30. Anyhow, that's just the headings that we're using. So down here, we're doing the calculation. We're saying, okay, I want this to align to my invoice number. The next one's going to be my invoice date. And again, we're going to align that to invoice date. So you can see that we can do all kinds of alignments and calculations here based on the report. We can set decimals. We can even put in labels if we wanted to. And then the other nice thing about all of this is we can assign these values if we need to a new name. So you can summarize at this, what we're doing here is this end of the apply to invoice. We could assign these values to a name and use that name now in later calculations. So again, we did one calculation. So we're saying, at the end of apply to invoice, do these, print the value. So again, this is just printing, well, here we're printing the maximum amount right there. But we can print, in this case, we're printing the value of invoice number. So if you don't specify anything, it's going to print the value. Here we're printing the maximum. Here's another example of where we're printing the total. Let me show you some of those. So here is an example of the invoice amount, print out the maximum invoice amount. And again, we can do calculations against any of those if we wanted to. Here's the end of customer now. So again, we're printing the invoice amount. We're doing the total of that invoice amount and the balance. Here's the end of the site. We kind of do all the same calculations, but here's where we're doing that percent of. So basically we're saying I want to take the total of my net balance and I want to use that to do some of my calculations. So again, I'm taking that net balance and I'm aligning it. But what I'm going to do here is now down here, I'm going to divide net, I'm going to times net balance by 100 to get my percent. I'm going to divide it by the total of that. In this case, net balance is going to give me 100% or close to it. And then I just kind of walk my way across that line doing the calculation. So here is my balance current. I'm taking my balance current and I'm dividing it by my total net balance to figure out what percent net current is of my total. Same thing for all these others. So here's my balance for 60 dividing by net balance so I can see what percent again that is. And let me do this. Oops, hold on, not there. I'm going to scroll down here just so you can see again that line. And I'm going to hide that little window. So again, what we're seeing are these net balance calculations to say, okay, we're showing that in this case, and again, we're working with old data, that the current was 103%. That's because we've got some over 90 days that are -3, but it does total 100%. But again, you can do all kinds of calculations using all kinds of variables in your end of section. So I'm sure if John were here, he'd be able to do a more detailed demonstration at all. But again, at the end of this, feel free to request a copy of the syntax that goes into this report. We'll be happy to send it to you. Again, and also if you want to be part of our beta program, let us know. The beta is looking great. So I'll tell you what I'll do. So we're going to go here. We're still in the beta version. Let's run the report again. I'll show you that. I'm going to run here. This time I'm going to run it for, all my customers. And I'll get rid of those selections I made before. And let's just go ahead and run it. Oh, okay. Goes out there and runs. And you'll notice in here we've got things that we're doing like as of date. So here's that prompt value. Looks like we did October 1, 2018. Here's all these. And you know what? That might be the reason that all those numbers were off. Let's do it for, rather than that, let's do it 01. Say run, see if we get better looking numbers down here, the total. I'm going to scroll all the way down. I'm going to jump all the way to the bottom by clicking right there. And let's make sure I can do that. And let's see what we got. I'm going to scroll to the right. Okay, so good. This is, again, it gives us a little bit different calculations now. So again, the total invoice balance is 100%. And then you can see that, what percent is current, what percent is 30 days past due, what percent is 31 to 60, 61 to 90, 90 plus. So again, these list no detail reports come in extremely useful many times. So that's what we wanted to show you today. So with that, I'm going to go back now to the PowerPoint slides. Let me maximize those. We're going to start from right there. So the key takeaways. Number one, with the AR agent report, you can have any kind of buckets. So I've seen reports where people want to see, okay, what's current, what's 1 to 15, 16 to 30. Again, you can create any number of buckets that you want and define those yourself. And again, it's easy using this list no detail. And the data display is at the end of section. So at the end of the sort break. And you can have as many end of sections as you want. These list no detail, I've seen people use those for doing income statements or balance sheets. So again, you can get very detailed. You can have links and drill downs from these end of sections. So again, very powerful. Okay. Now, at the end of the section, again, you're going to get a survey. Here are just some of the ideas that we've got for the next couple of sessions. I mean, one, real-time job boards, vendor performance, actual versus budget reporting, easy dashboards, charting, CQ shortcuts. And then if you got suggestions that you'd like to see, if maybe you'd like to see a little bit more detail on the the AI for Cyberquery, we can do that as well. So let us know what you want. Any questions? I'm going to kind of open it and see if Paul has seen any questions that we can answer as we're going along. Okay. I see one question here about what version of Cyberquery do we need to have these list no detail capability. And basically, it's any version of Cyberquery. They've been out and they've been in the product for many, many years. So anybody that's on CQ or ECQ, they can do those reports. So, okay. Looks like that's all the questions we've got. So we're going to wrap up early. I'm going to thank everybody for attending. And again, please fill out that survey for us.